This is Jack. This week's topic is transitioning. Sorry, this is a day late. I've been working a lot. We had interesting things at my job going on. Um, it was fun though, sort of, once it got handled, I guess. So highlights of the week and lowlights. Lowlights would be I've been a little mood swingy lately, but not horribly. And I guess other lowlights would be I don't know. This week hasn't been very bad. My I was actually off of school this whole week, and I got more shifts than usual, so I'll have a bigger paycheck. So this week was actually pretty good. Highlight was obviously seeing my girlfriend Alex, which I saw her yesterday and today, and that was nice. Other highlights of my week: Courage the Cowardly Dog is on Netflix. That show terrified me when I was a kid. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so back to this week's topic, which is transitioning. What does it mean to you? To me, I mean, transition is such transition for people is so like so hugely different for an individual, each individual, that I feel it can't accurately be defined completely. Like, it's obviously it's a transitioning from your assigned, not necessarily assigned gender, but or it's transitioning to me means moving from your current phase into one that you prefer, I guess. To me, it involves medical transition. I didn't always know this, but the difference between transgender males and transsexual males is, or transgender anything and transsexual anything, is that the transsexual part actually brings in medical components, so hormones, surgery. So being transgender and transsexual is not always the same thing, I guess. It's kind of like how not all squares are rectangles, or all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares, I guess. Wow, I just made a math reference. We'll ignore that. Blah, blah, blah. My personal transition process is the transsexual process, I guess. And then for me, mine has been, it started with cross dressing for a year to test out, to see how I felt living as a male or taking on male roles in general. And then after that, I spent time doing natural transitioning. And then I started on hormones. And I'm starting to look into surgeons right now. We're hoping to get me in before the end of the year. If not, it would probably be due to money issues. We're actually meeting with my gender therapist tomorrow. My father's coming in for the first time, which should be interesting in that he doesn't support any of this. He's strange in that he's very pro LGB part of the thing, the LGBT label, but not the T part. When I came out as as gay, I'm queer, but when I came out as liking females as a female, he went on TV, sign, "Yay, my daughter's gay," daughter, but told him about this, and he just kind of shrugs off the subject or doesn't talk about it, I guess. In my own process, I feel like I'm making progress. I'm doing things as I feel I should be doing them. I'm being very careful, doing all of my research, making sure I know all of the pros and cons of anything before I make any final decisions. Because this is my body and this is my life, and I don't want to do something that I end up regretting, like going, I don't know, to a surgeon who I'm not necessarily comfortable with their work or the results of their work. Even if it may be cheaper, if I end up with something that I don't like, I'm stuck with it, basically. So I'm being super careful about it. To me, I believe that transitioning can have an endpoint for people who believe it does for themselves. But for me, I see mine as a lifelong process because, like, even if I get my ovaries and uterus removed, I'm still gonna have to be on testosterone. It'll be a lower dose because I won't be fighting estrogen, but because I won't have anything that's producing massive amounts of it. But I'm still gonna have to be on T. So I see it as a lifelong process because I'm always gonna be making progress and changing still, as far as I know. I mean, even when you've been on T for years, I've heard people report changes. So, and then the affording surgery stuff is also probably going to prolong the process, I guess, for me. Let's see. I don't believe that all transitioning should be considered to have to be the same way. Because, for example, not all people can afford to medically transition. A lot of people I know really want to, but they can't necessarily afford it. Um, that's part of the problem that I want to try to work with in the trans population. Is once I graduate, I'm hopefully gonna get a job at some sort of LGBT center in the area. Um, I think enforcing that there is a specific or correct way to transition is not a positive thing at all because it excludes people who are already being delegitimized by society enough that they don't need people who are similar to them to treat them badly as well. I mean, enforcing that there's a correct way to do trans- a gender transition, is saying that there are people who are wrong because they're different. And I feel like that's just creating more stress and more of a divide between people rather than saying, hey, we're all having some similar issues. We should try to help each other out. Because not everyone is going to necessarily want, for example, bottom surgery. A lot of guys don't want bottom surgery because they're not happy with where the current technology or current surgical technique is for bottom surgery. I'm on the fence about that myself. I've wanted it, but recent interesting things in my life have been going on that have made me start considering, I guess, other options or how I want to go about bottom surgery. Um, and for example, Buck Angel decided that he didn't want bottom surgery at all. Um, for example, that's the only one I could come up with. But I don't believe that you should shame anyone for transitioning differently than you. Some people may just need to socially transition, or may want to only socially transition, correcting names, pronouns, whatever, clothing. But some people may want to more dramatically medically transition, or to have surgeries without, or to start just hormones, or to just have surgery. So it's I don't know. I think saying that there's a right and wrong way of doing it is just creating more problems than it is solving anything. And it may make like one person feel good about themselves because they're doing it the correct way or whatever, but why would we don't really need to tear each other down. Society does that to us enough anyway. Why would we need to do it to ourselves or our own kind, I guess. So yeah, I guess that's all I have for this week. And sorry I'm wearing a girl's wife beater right now. I'm kind of trying to figure out sleeping clothing. But anyway, so sorry this is late, and I'll see you guys next week.